Hi everyone. Another day in isolation means another day for gelato. Or we're not making gelato today, we're making a sorbet, is that correct?
That's correct. We're actually making raspberry sorbet. So we're just using the local fruit again, something that's in season. And myself personally, I like to work with the actual fruit. I don't like to work with frozen purees. It's better to support the farmer if we can.
So I was going to ask you, just to clarify once for all, what's the difference between ice cream, gelato and sorbet? Just to make that clear.
So sorbets actually don't have any lactose in them. So there's no animal products as per se for it to be considered a sorbet. A gelato is using lactose, so it's using animal products. Whether you use cow's milk, sheep's milk, goat's milk, it's really entirely up to you. Then the difference between a gelato and ice cream is the quantity of air that's actually incorporated into the product. That's why you find gelato to be a lot denser, but then at the same time, there's a lot more flavour involved because you have a lot less air incorporated into the product. But we can start on the raspberry sorbet just to get this going. So the same process as we've done with all the other sorbets, using a food processor or a blender that has a heating jacket on it. We're going to cook the base. So we're going to cook the water and the stabilisers and sugar first. Same temperature as always. For the stabilisers to be activated and the sugars to be melted, our fruit sorbets require that to be brought to 60 degrees and at least to be blended at that temperature for a period of time. So we'll add in the filtered water. Now, I like to use filtered water because I find the tap water, especially in most places, is quite horrible. There's chlorine, there's other disgusting flavours that come through, and you don't really want that flavour being present in your sorbet. So I like to use filtered water for that reason, or you could use bottled water. It's really entirely up to you. So just put the water in first, always, is very important. Don't put the sugars in first and the water after. If you do it that way around, what actually ends up happening is the sugars can sit in the bottom, and when it starts to cook, if the water doesn't break it down, you can get a bit of caramelization occurring and it can burn. That's not very nice, it's pretty horrible. So we're just going to cook this up to 60 degrees. Again, this should only take a few minutes. It's a very quick and fast machine. At that point in time, we'll turn off the temperature and we'll add in our fresh raspberries.
I need to have a look at the raspberries. Yep.
Delicious.
They're looking good.
Now the only thing is for raspberries, there isn't really that much cleaning to do. A lot of the cleaning is already done by the companies who hand-pick the raspberries. You can just check over them to make sure there's not any bruises or dirt, or if any of the stems are still stuck on the inside of the raspberry. If there is, just remove it or discard it.
Or if it's a little larvae.
Yeah, they probably don't use those either. Those are the ones that have been infested with any insects. But yeah, so we'll just cook this out, the base, and then we'll just add the raspberries in.
Okay, and depending on what fruit you use, do you adjust the sugar levels?
Correct. So this is a bit more technical, which you don't need to worry. All these recipes have been made to the fruit that's in the season, and obviously the sugars that are sold by Florentina will be calculated for you. But generally when you create the recipes, you use something called a refractometer. So this helps to calculate the quantity of sugar that's inside the raspberry, and then I adjust the recipes accordingly to that.
So it's a little bit like chemistry.
It is. There's a bit of science going behind it, but we take away all those problems, so you don't need to worry about that. So I've already calculated this recipe for the quantity of sugar and stabilisers here. So obviously when this raspberries go in, they are incorporated correctly, the sugar quantity is correct, so obviously when it gets churned, it comes out of a nice consistency.
Okay.
So this is already up to 59 degrees. So you see how quick that is. Like that's seriously fast. So I'm just going to turn the speed up just to agitate it a bit more. But as I mentioned, this needs to sit on this temperature just for a few minutes, just to make sure the stabiliser is actually broken down properly. If you don't and you only bring it up to 60 degrees and then you drop it straight away, what ends up happening is the stabiliser doesn't actually get properly activated, even when you mature for 12 hours. So just by doing it for a few minutes at the 60 degrees, really make sure that all the sugars and the stabilisers are broken down.
So what would happen if they are not broken down properly? Can you see that somehow?
Yeah, you see little like white dots all through the mixture, which is a stabiliser actually sitting there and not being fully absorbed into the liquid. Mind you, the maturation is to help that as well.
So what are the signs that you have done it correctly?
You shouldn't see any sort of sugar dispersion or any sugar crystals within this liquid.
Okay.
So they should all be broken down and no longer present. So we'll just give it up to the 2-minute mark here. So another 10 seconds. So making the base is really very quick. It isn't a long process. Like a lot of people think sorbet creation is quite tricky, but it isn't. It's the calculation of the ingredients is the hard part. The making of it's actually very, very simple. So we'll pop in all the raspberries again. We'll turn the temperature off. Pop the lid back on. Now all we got to do is just basically break down the fruit. So as you can see, because the raspberries have been in the fridge and they're a little bit cooler than the product, we'll start to drop this temperature very quickly. I'll just wash out the excess sugars that are in here. And we'll use the same container just to store the product in during the maturation. Fun! So, a few minutes worth of blending. Switch this bad boy off. Again, be very careful with these blades.
Yeah, we don't want to lose a finger.
No, I've seen people get injured by them. It's not very pretty. So.
God, that smells good.
Smells fresh. Out comes the raspberry sorbet. You can see I like to keep all the seeds in there. A lot of people like to pass the product, but I find you can tell the difference between a real sorbet and a fake one is the seeds are there, you know it's been using real fruit. A lot of purees, they pass it out. So you can actually tell the difference between have they used the real fruit or are they using a frozen puree. So again, we put this into the fridge, a little bit of Glad wrap on the surface. This just to help to keep any foreign objects from falling into it while it's in the fridge. And it also means we can keep the lid off, so it cools down a lot faster. And away it goes.
So now we have to wait 12 hours until we put it in
The batch churner.
this one.
All right, perfect.
All good. We have now waited for about 12 hours and the mixture is ready.
It is. So this is what it looks like, the raspberry sorbet after it's matured. We're going to churn this today in a minute, but first, as a normal simple rule is, you don't have to use a glass container. You could use any sort of instrument you like to be able to store it in. I'm just using this so you can see what it looks like. We're just going to freeze this down. So when we extract it, the mixture doesn't melt straight away.
And this mixture, could you use it for something else? If you decide not to make sorbet?
Well, if you do have leftover, or for say you didn't want to churn it out and make a sorbet, you can actually use this as a base for cocktails. So it is simply water, sugar, the fruit puree, and a little bit of stabiliser. So you could use this in a cocktail base if you want to. So there's many other applications. You could use it as a cordial, I guess. You could dilute it back even further. It's really up to you. You could put it into a seltzer where you charge it with a soda siphon, and you could make a drink out of it if you really wanted to. Like there's many other options. You don't have to churn this out, but it's probably better to if you've made a base. So again, we're just going to check to make sure this is properly locked. The blade's connected in, everything's ready to go. So we can just pop our mixture in. close the top, switch it on, and get it started. Now this is a semi-professional machine, as we've talked about before. This is really designed for cafes and restaurants. You probably wouldn't use this in a home scenario unless you've really got a lot of money to splurge.
And a lot of space. This machine's huge.
It does take a bit of space. Again, when you're making sorbets, ice creams, gelatos, you do need certain equipment. There is really no way of getting around it. That's why there are other machines that are available, like the Breville. They have a small machine that you can use as a benchtop. You do have a small attachment for the KitchenAids, which aren't too expensive. The Cuisinart machines are quite cheap. And you do have other machines where you can put ice and water in and you can churn it by hand. And again, they aren't that expensive either. But we're just showing you simply what this machine can do. So if you do have a restaurant or cafe, how well it creates a sorbet or gelato base. So let's come back and we'll see how it is in a few minutes time. So the mixture's now down to -7. So if we have a look at the top here, you can see that the raspberry sorbet has now been aerated slightly, so it's a little bit whiter in colour, and it's finished. So we're going to extract this out into our container. So place on the extraction button, open the front. And that's pretty much done. So there's our raspberry sorbet, all finished. As you can see, real raspberries, little bits and pieces in there, all genuine, real stuff, no fakeness.
Yeah, it's looking really good.
Thank you. Make sure you click on the video to find out the recipe afterwards and subscribe to see the upcoming videos that we're going to be posting soon. Thank you guys.